First up is Eugene, and yeah, this is nothing short of amazing. This truck, I'm just so impressed with all the work on this. At first, I thought there's no way this was just done with primitives, and then I started to take a closer look, and I see that indeed it is completely made out of primitives. Um, yeah, I mean, look at this detail here with this vent on the side. The tread on the tires, so nicely built and well placed. Everything seems so kind of accurate to the truck. The individual bolts here, the grates, how you placed all these little shapes here, like so. And then I was looking at this, for example, and I was at first I was like, well, that can't be a primitive, and then I realized it's made out of all these individual shapes. So just great, way above and beyond. I mean, look at the detail. Let me just hide this ground plane for a moment. Whoops. I mean, there's detail underneath. Look at that. There's even all this stuff underneath the truck as well. So yeah, just absolutely excellent, exemplary, great work. There's really nothing um, much to say about it. You got everything in a group. Um, I just have that. Let me turn that off. Yeah, and it looks like you've really organized things as well, which is great. Um, wow, quite a lot of surfaces. Amazing. So yeah, just brilliant, brilliant work. I really don't have anything to critique on it. I really couldn't be better. Next up is Gabriel, and we've got a desk, and yeah, I think it was a good choice. I think that you could do. I might have done this top differently. Is this? Oh, did you combine? I'd like to encourage you guys to get not. Oh, it's not. It's only one piece. How is that possible? Oh, it's just maybe that's the way you've parented it. Yeah, I wouldn't. Oh, I see. You've parented those to those, so that's fine. Okay. I typically, in most cases, I wouldn't be doing a lot of parenting one surface to another surface. I would rather be parenting surfaces to group nodes. So I would at least take these and parent them just to the group rather than have those um, parented. But I can understand why you'd want that just to be able to easily open these. And then as far as this shape, it looks like what you went beyond using primitives, which is fine. I think my concern here is the sort of almost paper thin nature of the desktop. So I might have just made another cube and put that as the desktop. And when you think about it, I mean, one way to think about building these things out of primitives is a real chest of drawers or desk is going to be made out of primitives, right? The desktop would be one piece of wood. This side piece would be one piece of wood. These drawers would be made out of individual flat pieces of wood. So the idea would be to, think about how this thing was actually constructed, and you could do it the same way. So, anyways, yeah, I think the thing that's catching my eye is the thinness of this top surface, and that could help. Another thing, I hold down Shift and right mouse click, and I go to soften, harden edge, and then harden edge. Um, you know, it'll help a little bit because for something like this, you wouldn't want soft edges. That is also under um, normals, soften and harden edge. You can find it there as well. But it was giving us that weird kind of shadow look on that edge there. Okay, so yeah, those are the main things. But it's good. You've got the right idea, and it's a good finished piece. Next up is Amber. And yeah, it's kind of a fun, interesting looking hat. You got some detail on it here. It looks like you've got that all parented. And yeah, like I said with the last one, I don't tend to do a lot of parenting one surface to another, more parenting two different groups, but it's fine. I think that it could be improved by, for this band. Oh, I see. intersecting the top of the surface. So because this is a pipe, you could probably use the thickness here and maybe get that to not intersect that. Oh, I see. This is. Let me hide the band for a moment. Actually, just Control H. Yeah, I think I would want to get these more accurately lined up. So I might click on thickness. I'm holding down Control and just adjusting that and get that nice and lined up. Good. And then I'm going to hit Control Shift H, and that's going to show this band again. And then I might want to make it so the band does not intersect the surface so much. I don't know how much you'd ever see it from the inside anyways, but um, let's adjust just middle. I'm just clicking on thickness and middle mouse dragging. I'm holding down the Control key to get a little bit finer control. Oh, I see. So we were losing some of that because I guess you pulled that out. Whoops. Yeah. Oh, that's better. Yeah, maybe something like that. Um, yeah, and then you could make sure. It's interesting that those have different translates. Oh, because of the parenting, that confuses that a little bit. If I see how this says 0.54 and this one says 3.635, so that's because it's relative to the thing it's parented to. If I unparent this, see how that changes? Now it's 6.011 whatever, and this is, although that doesn't help much because they're still very different from each other. Um, so you could also just use a line to get them to line up, but I guess they're pretty close. They're just slightly different. I don't know if that was something I did for messing with that or something you had done. That little unevenness at the top. But it's okay to add some evenness. Unevenness is actually probably good, so it doesn't look so. Because it almost looks like, if you didn't know it was a hat, you might think it was some mechanical piece or something, just because of the sharp edges and the kind of perfectly geometrical shape to it. So, yeah, I think it's okay. I think you could keep going, but you definitely got it going. So next up is Marcela, and yeah, a very, very good work here. I think what helps is it's got really good design. It's got a lot of style to it. You've got the cartoon house idea. Um, you know, Obviously that's not a primitive, but I'm not really going to pick on that. I mean, I think that um, you know, sort of mostly in the spirit of the assignment, and I think you've done a really nice job um, on this. And yeah, it's just I think it's a good design. It's cleverly done. You've kept things simple, but yeah, I really don't have much to say about improving on it. Um, I think that yeah, it seems like you have stuff pretty well organized and named. Yeah, into these different block groups. I might go ahead and take all of these and group them as one big group and just call this, house or something like that, just to tidy things up a little bit more. But oh, and I see you've got layers here as well. That's nice, and they're even color coded, which is cool. So yeah, really just great job. I really don't have much to add on it. I would say it goes above and beyond. So really good work. Okay, next up is Jose, and got a fire hydrant. Um, yeah, I think it looks all right. One thing I'd wanted to point out is be good to look at some reference here, and not that you were necessarily wanting to match this one exactly, but I'm just sort of looking at the proportions. This base is kind of thick, and the top is a little wider, and then you have these pieces at the bottom which are kind of thick. And I think this was more like a cylinder, and here you've got this very, rounded torus thing here. So I would consider replacing this with pipe primitive rather than a torus because, or even a cylinder because it's really just, that cap. And then for the bolts on the end, again, you can use a cylinder and I'll change the what is it, one, two, three, four, five, maybe five sided, so maybe change the divisions to five. um, So, you can use that as a bolt, and just rotate those 90 degrees, and you can put those over here. Instead of these kind of, what is that, a sphere? Yeah, so I would tend to, more put a bolt there. Anyways, and yeah, and maybe these different things are different sizes. Again, I guess the important thing, the point here is to use reference and really try and match it to this. Because right now it just has somewhat funny proportions and looks a little bit odd. So I do see you have the square bolt at the top, and I understand that you weren't using this particular image, and maybe your image looks more like the one you have, but right now the proportions look a little off, and parts are rounded that I think shouldn't be. And I don't know, like for some reason it looks like you did poly chamfer on this torus, and I'm not sure why. I also think these probably shouldn't be toruses, but they should be pipes. You can kind of make it look a little bit like a pipe by changing the subdivisions here to like 3. Does that work? Oh no, it makes it flat in the middle. I guess that doesn't work. So I guess really you should use the pipe primitive. I mean, that's a little bit closer. But really, yeah, the pipe primitive, again, polygon primitives, pipe, I think is more the one you want. And then you can, of course, adjust the thickness, as needed, and the divisions and all that kind of stuff, and put those into place. So yeah, looking at reference, making a few adjustments, having hard edges where they belong rather than these rounded pieces looks a little off. I don't know why you did this poly chamfer here, and I'm guessing that was a mistake. There's kind of an interesting little trick I can show you guys if you ever want to sort of go back a step. It doesn't always work. I can mix these up, but I go into the attribute editor, clicking here, and I find that poly chamfer, and then I hit select, and then hit delete, and deleted the whole object. So like I said, sometimes, well actually no, let me try that again. I hit select, and sometimes you have to kind of click up here. Still deleting it. Sometimes that'll work, sometimes it doesn't. It kind of depends on, yeah, see, because you did this delete component afterwards, it's not letting you do that. We can try getting rid of that one first. Select that, delete, and then select the poly chamfer, and then delete. Okay, that did work. So now I actually got rid of those nodes off of this. You kind of have to remove them back in order. So yeah, so I think this could be improved, but I think you achieve the basic assignment. You can work with the primitives, you can move them around, get them in place. Everything's appropriately aligned and all that, so it's looking good overall. Next up is Jamor, and we've got a camera, and yeah, I think you got the right idea here with these different pieces, and it looks like you've made adjustments to the pipe, and yeah, I can see you're using smooth preview to get the look of that, but you've also increased the details there, add a couple buttons. I have a feeling that you've made this harder for yourself by building the whole thing at an angle like this. So the thing to do is to build everything straight, and then when you're done, if you want to then group it and rotate the whole group to put it at an angle, that would be the way to do it. But when you're building it, you should build it straight. And I think that you've made it harder for yourself by building it at this angle. I'm guessing maybe you did rotate it everything afterwards, but it really looks like, because there's no rotates on that group, my guess is that you placed one of these things at an angle and then had to line the other stuff up to it, which just oh, they do indeed seem to have, yeah, I'm just looking at the rotate numbers here. They have different numbers, so it just looks like you've made it harder for yourself. So always build stuff straight and then group it and then rotate it into position. I think this is looking funny just because of the smooth preview. I mean, if we look at here, I think you'd want a harder edge for the lens. I know sometimes like those sort of very automatic cameras can have some sort of rounded lens covers, slightly rounded, that extend, but usually I think of them being more just straight cylinders. I don't know if you used reference or exactly what the reference looked like, but yeah, it looks like it's got kind of a handle thing here and some buttons. You might have added, another square here of some kind for a screen you could do, or maybe a little square for like a readout somewhere on the top, or that kind of thing. But yeah, and the key thing is to look at reference, add everything you can, and then build it. So, yeah, I think you've got the basics down. I think it looks all right. But just make sure if you didn't, make sure you build stuff straight. And then you can always group it and rotate it afterwards. Next up is Eddie. And yeah, pretty simple and straightforward. Um, Looks all right. I think that for the base, I would have chosen a cube rather than plain because it should have some thickness. So just a cube that was scaled pretty flat but still had some thickness. I look in the front view, or I guess the right view. I see this is at an angle here. So you might want to look at these and change them, like 90 degrees that way. And um, you also have some other, looks pretty straight otherwise, actually. What happens if I do that? Oh, interesting. Don't know why it's doing that. Um, the other thing you can do is if you hold down E and click, you'll get this marking menu. You can do discrete rotate, and that will rotate things in 15-degree increments. So it'll help things stay straight. Although this isn't doing that, which is very odd. Let's go to 0 in all directions first, and then try it. Um, So yeah, I think it was just kind of had some weird rotates on it, but now it's acting normally that I've zeroed it out. So it's 0, 90, and 0, you see. And then also just making sure that, it's a little hard to see, but let's look at this view. Just that this is precisely touching the bottom, so I would move this up. But like I said, I would use a cube for that anyway, so it has some thickness. It's good that you thought to put the buttons on the side, but they're a little big, I think, for a monitor. And I would also say that maybe they'd be a little bit more sunken. I would push them in some more so they don't protrude out so much. And yeah, I mean, you could have added, I don't know, maybe some of the sort of ports or vents in the back or something. I don't know, something to add a little bit more detail on it. But I think you've got the basics down. You're using it, and so it's all right. Let's take a quick look at the outliner. Yeah, you've got it grouped. Um, you didn't name those, but so if you want to take it further, you could name those. You do have layers, so that's good too. Star is up next, and I was taking a look at this, and I have a feeling that you are not moving around in this view because it looks like it's together in the front view, but you didn't tumble around to see what it looks like in the different views. You can also look at this, this four views, so you can see it in all the different views at the same time. So, you need to really consider what it looks like in three dimensions and not just from the front view. So it's kind of an interesting thing that it does work kind of in the front view, but not in any other view. And you really need to look at things in the full three dimensions. So yeah, I would put a little more time and really get used to tumbling around. I'm just holding down Alt and clicking and dragging to see this from all the different views. And you had talked in your post about connecting them, and really, they don't. There's nothing really. They don't need to be connected. They can just overlap each other a little bit, and just move them into position. And they don't even have to be perfectly aligned. You can just you know get them pretty close. Sometimes it helps to get it lined up in one view, and then get it lined up in another view, and then you'll know that it'll be lined up in 3D. Maybe this could be a little smaller since that's the head. One good trick is for something like this is I can move the pivot point. If I hold the D and V key and middle mouse drag, it'll snap the pivot point to the center there. And then if I hold down the V key for point snap and middle mouse drag, it'll snap to a point on the surface. That'll get it close, and then I can adjust it from there. Yeah, it might be better to do two views at a time. So, anyways, yeah, I think you need to work on the placement of these some more. So, yeah, I would give that another pass and practice a little bit more and making sure you're checking things in the 3D view. Next up is Crystal, and yeah, this looks really good. I like that you use reference. It's always good to use reference when you're modeling. And you've got this interesting zipper shape. Looks like you went beyond using primitives, which is fine. It looks a little mangled, but that's okay because we can't see most of it. Um, and just sort of curious, checking it out. Yeah, it looks like you pushed some points around, and again, that's fine for this assignment. But yeah, I felt like it was pretty, close to the reference, and it looks like you got the hang of moving things around a little bit. And we'll learn more and better modeling techniques for some of the other stuff you were trying to do. But I think, as far as the spirit of the assignment, that's good. I think the thing that didn't get really done is sort of cleaning up your outliner. You're doing the copy and paste thing. And this is what I'm talking about, where copy and paste will make all these extra group nodes and have these really long names that kind of make a mess of things. So I mentioned this in another post, but I would encourage you not to copy and paste. And rather than copy and paste, you can use duplicate. And there's also duplicate special, where you can have it move or rotate or scale, and you have these other options. You can reset it. This is the default, but um, I think I get into that in a later module on how to use some of those options. But rather than use copy and paste, which kind of makes a mess here, I would use duplicate. And just to, a quick way to clean this up, I'm just going to unparent everything. So I selected all the surface by doing marquee select. I'm going to do Shift P a few times to make sure all the surfaces are unparented. And let's make sure those are all selected again. And just to be careful, I'm going to delete the history, edit, delete by type history, to make sure that none of those groups will somehow affect this. And then I'll go ahead and group all of these, and I'll just call this, I don't know, character or something like that. Then, after doing that, I can take all of those. I just selected the top one, shift select the bottom one, delete it, and this is cleaned up. And if you want to take it to the next level, looks like you've named a lot of these, but here's another example of it messing up the names. So again, I don't really like copy and paste so much. I prefer you use duplicate. Um, but yeah, you go clean up the naming a little bit, and then if you have all these different layers, which I probably know, maybe these are somewhat organized, but I guess what I would say is name the layers as well, so you know what those different layers are, and get the stuff organized in layers. But yeah, overall it looks good. You've got the right idea. You're clearly able to place the stuff the way you want. I mean, that was really the goal of the assignment, was those basic things. And you did follow reference, and I always appreciate when people use reference.